In this session, we will learn about the modeling in Autodesk Maya application. Here we have some references, the concept sketches, which I am going to use as a reference in Maya software. I am going to start with this hammer model and how we can model this one hammer in Maya software. So first of all, we need to extract this one hammer into the separate file. So here you can see the separate file we had extracted into Adobe Photoshop. Now I'm going to save the file onto the desktop, and the file already has been available onto desktop. I'm going to replace the file, minimize the application, and now again back to Autodesk Maya application. So before I start any work in Autodesk Maya software, first of all we need to create the project. So for setting up the project, come on to the file menu, and here we have an option called the project window. With the help of project window, you can define the name of the project and you can save where your file has to go to be saved. So before I start the same, first of all we need to set the image as a reference into the viewport. So as my reference was in front view, or that could be a side view, so I am going to use the view option, and here there is an option called the image plane. In image plane you can use the import image and you can manually select your reference to set into the viewport. So hit on open. Now you can see your image is available into the Maya software. But there is a problem. This one object, this one image plane has been set into the 000 coordinate system. When we have to model any object into the Maya application, by default the model has been created onto the 000 coordinate system. So first of all we have to little repositioning our reference so easily we can model the hammer in software. So here we have an option called the image plane. In image plane, this is an option called the image center. In image center, there are 3000 values. This is for x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So here you can see onto the viewport, this is the positive x direction, and I have to send the data little back. So select the image plane and put the value into the -5. And here you can see the image has been shifted to -5 in -x direction. Now here you can see inside view it still look like the same. Why? Because in rest x position, y position, z position, cut. Because in rest in y direction and z direction the object positioning it is still same, so it look like a cut. Now I am going to move and resize the viewport of Maya. So here you can see we can easily resize the viewport of Maya. So I have changed the 4 viewport into the 2 viewport here. I'm going to first of all define how we can start to any model. So here you can see it's a look like a box. So we can use a standard primitive box to model the same. And this is look like a small cylinder. So you can use the cylinder for this, and the same thing you can access, you can create with the help of cylinder. So one on one I'm going to use the same how we can achieve this one hammer model into the Maya software. So first of all I'm going to use a cylinder here. So this is a cylinder file and I'm going to resize the same. You can use the F for focus the model, E for rotation, and J for rotation snap. And now I'm going to move and I'm going to set the cylinder as per the requirement of reference. Now here you can see the cylinder radius is little bigger, so what you can do, you can use the scale option to resize the radius of file and manually navigate and set as per the requirement of reference. Now you can use the attribute editor also, or here is an option called the channel box. Here you can see the object positioning. So in y-axis and z-axis the value has been changed to here. Come down into the input node, and here we have an option called the subdivision axis. So decrease the subdivision axis to 8. Why? Because in Maya the polygon numbers, when you increase, definitely the computer would be slow. So we have to keep our number of polygons very less But definitely when we require to add the details into the software, we can put some additional cut or loops into the Maya application. So here you can see the cylinder into the perspective view. You can use the 6 button to see the shaded view of object. And again, as I discussed you earlier, hit the F button to make focus the object. Here you can see this one has several tracks. Manually select the edge and you can manually delete these edges. Now here you can see, now we have an quartz here, 4 faces here. Now I'm going to select this one area and you can use the edit mesh and extrude options to extrude the object. So when I'm hitting onto the extrude, here we have 3 options: thickness, offset and divisions. So manually you can change the value from here. Also what you can do, manually you can extrude your object from the viewport also. So as per the requirement, you can extrude your object and manually set as per the requirement of the reference. When your job is completed, hit on the move button again to deactivate the option. But here you can see the handle of this hammer is little bended. So we need to add some segment here to make the hammer handle into the bending position. So what you can do, we can easily go to the edit mesh options and here is an option called the edit insert edge loop tool. So with the help of edge loop tool, you can add the loops in between the edges and manually set as per reference requirement. For last command repeat, you can use the G shortcut button from the keyboard. So I'm using the G shortcut button and I'm adding one more edge loop and manually I'm resizing the radius for the same as per reference requirement. Again I am using the G button and I am going to rotate to maintain the flow of the hammer handle and again going to reposition the file. So now here you can see into the perspective view the hammer handle is little bended. Now what I'm doing here, I'm going to delete these 4 faces. So now easily I can select the edge, right click an edge and hit double click to select the loop of edges and zoom extend it to the viewport. So easily you can manipulate your vertex as per requirement. So you can use the edit mesh and extrude options from here, as well as we have a shortcut here. You can use the polygon and hit on the extrude shortcut. Now here you can see it's little outside. Scale up. G for last command repeat and W for move. G for last command repeat and R for scale. G for last command repeat and W for move. So here you can see I had easily added one grip to here in Autodesk Maya application with the help of editation, loop tool and extrude options. Again do the same here. So extrude, scale, G for last command repeat, W for move, G for last command repeat, R for scale, G, W again, G, R, G, W, G R G W G W G R for scale, again G and W for move, again G and R for scale, and finally G and W. So here, as per the requirement of reference, we had designed our handle of the hammer. So now you have a basic idea how we can easily manipulate the vertices, edges, how we can add the Extrude tool into Maya application for adding details like this hammer reference. Now I'm going to move on next, this one area. For this one area, I have to use the cylinder, and for the bottom area, I can use the box as well as we can use the cylinder which decrease the number of segments.